My defense has returned in the Lord's year of 2026 here in these NBA playoffs. The Minnesota Timberwolves and the San Antonio Spurs providing a gem, treating us to a throwback type game, throwback back into like the early 2000s, though it was a duel in the fourth quarter, 35-30 in the fourth quarter. Minnesota edges San Antonio in the fourth to rip this game one. But prior to that fourth, this was an absolute defensive slugfest between two juggernauts defensively. The Spurs showed their defensive prowess all regular season long. The Minnesota Timberwolves, one of my big knocks on them is how lousy and underwhelming by and large this team is during the regular season. Every year, they seem to be just floating around 48, 49 wins. Maybe they sniff 50 even. They're like the 5, the 6 seed every single year. The talent that this team has, top to bottom, the elite defensive players that they have throughout the majority of this roster, totally underutilized throughout the regular season. Just to me, a classless regular season approach by the Timberwolves. I will shame them for their effort and their abilities and what they do during the regular season. No shame during the playoffs, though, because they all show up in a major way in the postseason. That's why they have gone to 2 consecutive Western Conference Final Series now. They've won more series over the last 3 seasons than any team in the NBA in the playoffs because this roster is elite. The talent surrounding Anthony Edwards, who was great tonight, but the talent around him is elite. The defensive pieces, elite. So, look, they do the run to the West Finals as the 6th seed last year. They're the 6th seed this year. Everybody clowning, the entire world clowning the Denver Nuggets and Nikola Jokic on their way out of the playoffs to the Minnesota Timberwolves. And now credit to Anthony Edwards, who apparently has been living in a hyperbaric chamber for the last 9 days. Absolutely an astounding recovery by him to even be available for this game, let alone play meaningful minutes and play a big game tonight. He ended up being -2 on the plus minus, but 18 points on 8 of 13 off the bench in only 25 minutes. And the teammates, Julius Randle calling him the Wolverine, invoking the, of course, famous comic book hero with, the regeneration abilities to heal any injury or wound. And Anthony Edwards, 9 days after hyperextending the knee, which should be realistically at least a month injury. They were saying maybe 2 to 3 weeks at the time, but I was thinking more 4 to 6 weeks. 9 days. He beats it and comes back. But still, the Minnesota Timberwolves, substantial underdogs in this series and in this game. They were plus 14.5 as of last night, if you recall, when you joined us here on the show last night, Skap Live After Dark, that we were laughing and joking about this ridiculous spread that Vegas set for this game. Minnesota Timberwolves, 14.5-point underdogs to open, and as of last night, right before tip with news of the Anthony Edwards return, the line shifted a whole 1 point, so it was still Spurs minus 13.5, and the Timberwolves were in this game from the beginning. They were up through much of the game. It was really a close game. Really, the largest lead not taken until the later stages of the fourth quarter, where the Timberwolves took a 9-point lead, quickly trimmed, though, by the Spurs in this nail-biter finish, 104-102. But the T-Wolves have shown clearly no Ayo Dosunmu still tonight. Obviously, DiVincenzo finished with the ruptured Achilles, and Ant-Man in only 25 minutes tonight. The Timberwolves show that they have been playing possum in the regular season for the last several years. The Wolves come out in the postseason, and they are doing it again right now. This is obviously going to be a far longer, more competitive series than most gave it a chance to be. I like the Spurs in 6. That looks wrong now at this point. You just got to be in awe of the Timberwolves and what they're accomplishing. Victor Wembanyama, speaking of being in awe, the youngest ever Defensive Player of the Year award winner this year, 22 years of age. And I believe that award went in to existence in 1985. I want to say it's somewhere around 40 years old, the Defensive Player of the Year award. And for the first time ever in over 40 years now, Victor Wembanyama becomes not only the youngest Defensive Player of the Year winner, but the only ever unanimous Defensive Player of the Year winner, both in the same year, this year, where the Spurs, 62 wins, way ahead of schedule. His net swing, his on-off, their defensive rating with him on the court versus off, all outrageous, preposterous numbers. And he showed up in a major way in this game on the defensive side of the ball, where he sets the all-time NBA playoff record in blocked shots. Going into this game tonight, there had been 3 people in league history to block double-digit shots in a single postseason game. Of course, to no one's surprise, Mark Eaton with 10 blocks. That was back in 1985. Akeem Olajuwon with 10 blocks in 1990, and 2 of the great all-time shot blockers in league history, Akeem Olajuwon and Mark Eaton, 2 Defensive Player of the Year award winners in their own right. And then shockingly, the third other human being to block 10 shots in a single playoff game before this night started, Andrew Bynum in 2012 with 10 block shots. But while Victor Wembanyama blocked 10 through the end of the third quarter, he had 7 block shots in the first half, and he ends this game with 12 blocks on the night, the now all-time NBA playoff record for blocks in one single game. So Victor Wembanyama continuing to prove he is an absolute defensive dynamo. But while everybody just trashes Nikola Jokic left and right, up and down the floor, because, well, despite his historic offensive accomplishments, the fact that he's the greatest offensive engine in NBA history, he's just not good enough on the defensive side of the ball. So he's continually and routinely ripped, especially on the way out of these playoffs. Oh, we have to rethink everything about Nikola Jokic after a series where he scored 26 points per game, 13.5 rebounds, and 9.5 assists per game. Well, Victor Wembanyama, we have to point out that there is an offensive side of the floor when we're talking about Victor Wembanyama, at least after this night. Because on a night where Wembanyama was undeniably masterful defensively, how does 11 points on 5 of 17 shooting from the field grab you? So yes, he has the triple-double with blocks, 11, 12, and 13 tonight for 15. 11, 15, and 12 tonight for Victor Wembanyama. Great performance. But look, if Rudy Gobert and the Minnesota Timberwolves front line owns Nikola Jokic for 26, 13, and 9.5 on 45%, Victor Wembanyama is shooting like 29% and 11 points right now. He was the 6th leading scorer on his own team tonight. So terrific defensive performance by him. However, maybe if he was better than 11 for 5 of 17, this is a guy who is largely expected to finish second in league MVP vote this year, who largely is expected to rip the title of best player in the NBA if they win this series and next and go on to win the NBA championship. Well, 11 points on 5 of 17 shooting in a 2-point loss at home as a 14-point favorite simply isn't good enough. So I guess that bears mentioning for him if it did for Nikola Jokic. And look, Jokic had a terrible, putrid performance in game 3 of that series against the Timberwolves. 27 points on, I believe, 8 of 26 shooting in that game. Just a purely awful performance by him. And I'm not saying you just take away the one bad performance, but in the other 5 games that he played against this Timberwolves defense, he averaged 27 points per game on 50% shooting on this Timberwolves defense. Obviously, this Timberwolves defense has it going. Obviously, they understand how to defend the front court. If Victor Wembanyama struggled like this, the series is not one game long. We'll see how he responds and how he comes back on the offensive side of things for the remainder of this series. But he's got to be better than that if they're going to win this series moving forward. Because, look, a game effort by the Minnesota Timberwolves tonight. Julius Randle, 21 points. J.D. McDaniels, another good game from him, 16 points on 7 of 14 shooting. Mike Conley, who's now all of a sudden in the starting lineup because of the Dante DiVincenzo injury, 12 points, 4 of 8 shooting. Terrence Shannon, again, no Ayo Dosunmu tonight either. Terrence Shannon elevated into the starting lineup, 16 points again for him. He was big in that closeout game, 6 against the Denver Nuggets. Off the bench, former Six-Man of the Year award winner Naz Reid, an ace bench player, 12 points, 5 of 9 shooting. And, of course, Anthony Edwards off the bench. In those aforementioned 25 minutes that he played, 18 points, 8 of 13 shooting. The Minnesota Timberwolves, despite still being racked by injury right now, are right in the midst of this series against the San Antonio Spurs. They take game 1, and outside of Victor Wembanyama, I mentioned he was the 6th leading scorer on his team. You know, De'Aaron Fox did them no favors tonight either. 10 points on 5 of 14 shooting, a team worst -13. And De'Aaron Fox is one of those guys, hot and cold, can go either way. When he's got his shot going, he's very big. He can be their best player from game to game. But if he's struggling with his shot like he was tonight, struggling with his offense, he's a big liability, and he was tonight for the San Antonio Spurs. A very though balanced attack offensively from the Spurs. Otherwise, Stephon Castle had a good game, only 8 shots. He needs to take more than 8 shots, 17 points for him. And then Dylan Harper, this guy, I don't even know. What is he, 20 years old maybe, a rookie, and continues to play massive minutes for this team. 18 points, 7 of 13 off the bench for this. Actually led the Spurs in scoring tonight. Their rookie off the bench in 29 minutes. So just a terrific game. Both teams kind of struggle with their shot. They end with both shooting 45%. They were both under 40% at halftime. So both in the upper 30% range shooting at half. They both got hot in the second half then to some degree. 27-24, Spurs won the third, and then 35-30 in the fourth. So a lot of points scored in the second, and they escalated or elevated those shooting splits into the second half by the virtue of that third and fourth quarters. This is going to be a very good series, I think. Not sure if I could say the same for what we saw on the Eastern Conference side of things. As Gary and I spoke last night about this Knicks 76ers series, I believe I have the Knicks in 6 in this one as well. While I feel as if I'm completely wrong on this series, I think if the Spurs are to win it, it will be in 7. The Timberwolves are going to be right in it, I feel like, the rest of the way. The Knicks 76ers, look, it is just one game. The Knicks have been resting. The 76ers coming off of that emotional and physically, mentally exhausting and draining 7-game comeback series where they were down 3-1. They fight all the way back from down 3-1 against Boston, win 3 straight, including game 7 on the road in the Garden and in Boston Garden. And you had Joel Embiid crawling all over the floor with various lower body injuries in that game. He, has been heralded and praised unanimously across the interwebs and by me for his performance and his gutty performance in game 7 and in the 4 games since he returned from that emergency appendectomy last series. Tonight just didn't have it. Played only 25 minutes, 14 points, 3 of 11 shooting, a -24. Just across the board, the Sixers were very flat. Again, that absolutely should have and could have been expected following one day off after that 7-game epic comeback by them against the substantially favored Boston Celtics. So really just not physically, mentally checked in and prepared for this one for Philly. And the New York Knicks just trounced them from the get-go. They were just all over them early and often. I think I saw Jalen Brunson, I believe. He ends the game, 35 points, 12 of 18 shooting in only 31 minutes. But he had 27 at halftime. They were killing the Sixers this whole game. 137-98 is the final in this one. And the Knicks are on one right now. They won game 1 against Atlanta in their opening round series by 11. They then lost game 2 by 1. They then lost game 3 in Atlanta by 1 to go down in that series 2-1. So a double-digit win in game 1, then lost by a single point in both of the next 2 games. After that, They won game 4 by 16 points. They won game 5 by 29 points. They won game 6 by 51 points. And now they win game 1 in this series by 39 points. That is a net differential over the last 4 games in the NBA playoffs of 33 points per game on average. And their overall net differential for this postseason to this point is now roughly plus 21, which is sheerly ludicrous. The 2001 LA Lakers that went 15-1 through the postseason, and the 2017 Golden State Warriors, the first year they added Kevin Durant after the 73 wins for the 2015 team, they went 16-1 in the postseason that year. Those 2 teams are the top 2 teams in league history in net differential, right around 12 per game in a postseason run. Now, obviously, the Knicks, you would think, series will tighten as it goes. They'll get the winner, though, of Cleveland and Detroit next. If they win against the 76ers, I don't want to be too presumptuous because the Sixers were down 3-1, so they're not going to sweat over an 0-1 hole on the road to start this series. But that would be their next opponent. And then, of course, they're probably going to lose to the Thunder in the finals. So I expect this 21-point net differential to be whittled down. But just to give you some idea of how crazy this few-game run by the Knicks are or has been, just crazy. And 35 by Brunson again, 18 from OG Anunoby on 7 of 8, 17 for Karl Anthony Towns on 7 of 11, 17 from Mikal Bridges on 7 of 10. Like, those guys all played 30 or less. Well, 31 for Jalen Brunson, but 27 minutes for Bridges, 26 for Hart, 20 for Karl Anthony Towns. The plus minuses are outrageous for the Knicks and outrageous in the other direction for the Philadelphia 76ers, led by Tyrese Maxey, who has been fantastic for the last couple years, really, and terrific in that series against Boston. Just 13 points for him in 27 minutes on 3 of 9 shooting, a game worst minus 28. But the Knicks have got to be feeling themselves, and that New York fan base have got to be feeling themselves at this point, as again, they have not been to the NBA Finals since 1999. So 27 years now, a full quarter of a century plus since they've even entered the NBA Finals, and they haven't won one since the 70s, since like over a decade before I was even born, and I'm old as hell. So that just tells you how thirsty this New York Knickerbocker fan base is to get back in there, at least taste, dip their beak into it, get a little drink in the NBA Finals, even if they're not going to win that series. So look, 2 interesting games tonight. I think no surprise that the 76ers get worked. I still expect them to come back and make this interesting moving forward. And the Timberwolves and Spurs, like just a great series, I think is ahead of us. A great defensive battle probably looming on the horizon in that series. So I am all told pretty excited about tonight. We've got 2 more games now that we will take in tomorrow night. To another big line tomorrow night. I said the Spurs right before tip with the news of the Ant-Man's return, the line shifted down to 13.5. Tomorrow, it's still sitting right around 15.5 point favorites for the Oklahoma City Thunder. News today, not good for the LA Lakers, by the way, that they will be slow playing Luka's return. So it doesn't sound like he's really close at this point to being ready to play in that series. So that could be an extraordinarily short series. And then, of course, the Cavs and Pistons get underway tomorrow night. Guys, welcome into Skap Live After Dark now. We are hitting about the 20-minute mark. It is 12:40 a.m. on the East Coast of the good old US of A, where I'm coming from. Many thanks for all of those of you who are joining us tonight. We've got about 400 right now in the chat. So thank you guys for being here. Gary, welcome in. Moderator Gary is here, of course, a big Spurs fan. So he, though, is not upset about it. He just likes to see defense return as well and see a good, tough, physical, hard-fought game. Gary, go ahead and say hello to the people and give some words of encouragement to your San Antonio Spurs for next game.
Yeah, I'm just so glad to see basketball back. This looked like the kind of basketball I grew up with. It's on NBC for one, so you've got that NBA on NBC theme, which is the only music that should be playing over an NBA game. But just the offense, the defense, the heart from everybody, both teams. Anthony Edwards. I mean, look what Jason Tatum did in Game 7. And now look at Anthony Edwards. You see the stark difference there? I'm not a Timberwolves fan, but I love the construct of that team. I love their heart. Now, this is what, I'll tell you what will discourage me is if Minnesota does go on to win this series and then lay an egg to OKC like they did last year in the Western Conference Finals. Skap, what is the difference here? Why does this Minnesota team look like they have so much more heart than last year's? Is there a difference that I'm not computing?
Well, Gary, I mean, the Timberwolves, they went to the West Finals last year. They went to the West Finals the year before. So like, and they were, look, they surprised people last year. Like people forget the Lakers were unanimously selected in the first round to beat the Timberwolves. Like that, I remember reading an article going into the postseason, and the ESPN staff writers, there's like 13 of them that picked every single series last year in the first round. 13 of the 13 picked the Lakers to win that series last year in the first round, and they beat the Lakers 4-1. Very similar to the Nuggets series this year. The Nuggets were considered by many a massive favorite. People were thinking that was going to be a 5-game series, and they just dominated the Nuggets. So really similar runs to start the playoffs in back-to-back years. Look, Minnesota, who knows what would have happened in the second round? They lost fairly badly in game 1 of the second round opener against Golden State last year. But then in that game 1, Steph Curry got hurt and he never did return. The Timberwolves then won 4 straight games to win that series 4-1. So who knows what would have happened if Steph Curry had not gotten injured in that series. It was 1-0 Golden State. But then they went into that series against Oklahoma City. They were competitive in a few games. They got blown to pieces in a couple games. I think that was a 4-1 series ultimately in the West Finals. And again, similar to the year before, they won in the first round. They meet Denver in the second round, blow Denver to pieces. Obviously, it's hard to say blow them to pieces. It was a 7-game series, but they were administering an ass beating in the beginning of that series. That series began in Denver, and the Thunder won by like 30-10, or so. They won by 30 in game 1 and 10 in the game 2 or whatever. They were just beat downs in games 1 and 2. Everyone thought that series was over. Denver went on the road, won 2 in a row on the road, came back. Jokic had a historic performance in game 5. They went up 3-2. Then they lost by like 50 in game 6 to get pushed back to game 7. They took a 20-point lead early in the third and end up just blowing the whole thing. It was nearly tied by the time the third quarter ended. Very reminiscent of the second quarter in game 2 this year, where they were up 19 in the beginning of the second quarter, and it was tied by the end of the second quarter. And that basically ended the series. So that game, and the game 7 they played against Denver, very similar. Up 20 in the beginning of the third, tied basically at the end of the third, and they lost the fourth by like 10 points. So then they went into the West Finals that year, and everyone's thinking, oh, the Timberwolves are really going to give Boston a pretty good series in the finals. They get gentlemen swept by the Dallas Mavericks 4-1, just like they got gentlemen swept in the Western Conference Finals last year by the Oklahoma City Thunder. So And the Thunder got taken 7 by Denver, then 7 by Indiana, and you had the Wolves bumming it up out there, winning 1 game in that series. So the Wolves are a very low character team at times. They really are. And they are very low character in the regular season. To my point, those Western Conference Finals runs years, well, just look at the way it's been encased. If you will. The 42 wins, they win 56 actually in 2023, 2024. But 42 wins, 56 wins, 49 wins, 49 wins. Like that last 4 years, they win 50 games just one time. I mean, just ridiculous with the makeup of this team and the relative health. They were the healthiest team of the 8 teams to qualify for the playoffs in the West and the East. So of the 16 playoff teams, they had the most relative health of all 16 teams during the regular season. So I don't want to hear any excuses about, oh, they had injuries at the end of the year. Yeah, at the end of the year, so what are you doing the rest of the season? Like for them to only win 49. And you've got Anthony Edwards, who is in his 6th NBA season, and he's played in the 70s every year until this year. In fact, he had 3 straight 79 game seasons beginning in his first All-Star season, his 3rd year in the league in 2022-2023. So in these last 4 years where Ant-Man has been a star, they've won 50 games 1 time. So just low character performances in the regular season, not caring about the regular season. But that's because they know they could flip the switch in the playoffs and they can exude this level of defense. And their rosters are stacked. Man, who's ever building the teams in Minnesota, great architect, really. I sure wish Denver had someone like that to build their, because Denver did have that guy. Denver did have Tim Connolly, who constructed their championship team. Then the cheap-ass Kroenke family, pathetic losers that they are, let him go to Minnesota, and then he built the perfect team to beat Denver and then compete in these play. And now that they're going on maybe their 3rd straight Western Conference Finals run. So not surprising that Denver looks like they're a budding dynasty. Then they let Connolly go, and now 3 years later, they haven't tickled the Western Conference Finals once, and the Timberwolves are looking to make their 3rd straight Western Conference Finals. Though I do think the Spurs will still have a lot to say in this series. Wembanyama could not have played worse offensively in this game. Could not have been worse. He had single-digit points until a dunk late in the 4th quarter, like in the last 2 minutes. So like he had 8 points for a while. Then he missed 1 free throw late. But he gets to 11 points again on 5 of 17. I think he was like 0 of 8 from the 3-point line. 0 of 8 from the 3-point line tonight for him. He can be much better. They still lose by only 2 points. Like Wembanyama is capable of going nuclear offensively too. So like I understand the love affair with him and why people are so enamored. Like they look at a dude who is capable of producing Jokic-like offensive lines that has the ability to block 12 shots in an NBA playoff game defensively, that has a top line, best defensive player maybe ever. I will never go that far, probably. Bill Russell and Hakeem, it's going to be hard for me to put someone above those 2 guys. But this guy could be like Mount Rushmore all-time defenders. So I understand, and he can also could get you 30 and 15. So like I understand why people are enamored with him, but you got to show it when it matters. I get he's only 22, but that's not an excuse. It can't be a crutch. If it just like with LeBron James, like we can't have it both ways. When he plays magnificent at 41, and people say, "Oh, but he's 41. Look at it. He's the GOAT. Look at his longevity." But then when he plays poorly at 41, you can't say, "Oh, yeah, but he's 41. Who cares that he played like shit?" No, you can't have it both ways. So like you can't just say, "Oh, Vic, look at this. Look at how great this kid is at 22." But then when he struggles and he fails, you can't say, "Oh, yeah, but he's only 22." No, you are what you are. What the product indicates or what the accolades, what the numbers, like you are what it is. Like sports is very cut and dry. It is ageless, timeless. It knows no race, ethnicity, age. Like, if you can play, if you can dominate, you can. Victor Wembanyama, probably going to be second in league MVP vote this year. Unanimous defensive player of the year. People are saying he's a top 2-3 player already in the NBA right now. Gotta be better. Gotta be better than 5 of 17 for 11 points in a 2-game loss at home as 14-point favorites in game 1 of the semifinals of the NBA playoffs. So I love Victor Wembanyama, just like I love Nikola Jokic. The criticisms I expect will not be coming for Wemby after this performance, like they were for Nikola Jokic throughout the entirety of that series. But again, the Timberwolves just look like an elite defensive squad. And again, they are now 3 wins away from taking part in their 3rd consecutive West Finals. And in that, in case you're wondering, the matchup, the presumptive matchup, you got to expect the Thunder to make quick work of the LA Lakers. The Spurs this year in the regular season, 4-1 against the Thunder, and the Timberwolves were 2-2, and those were very close competitive games. So either way, I think we get a good Western Conference Finals series. Don't want to look too far ahead there. Obviously, we've got game 1 coming tomorrow night, like I said, with the Lakers. But yeah, Gary, it's gonna be interesting to see if your man Vic can bounce back offensively in this series. Rudy Gobert didn't even really play much in this game. He was, I think he played he was like 24 minutes or something, I think. Oh, okay, 30. He got up to 30. He was at 25 late in that game. Okay, so 30 minutes for him, 7 points only, 10 rebounds, but a +2. So, this was a close game. Naz Reid was +15 off the bench. A game high by far for either team. +15. I guess I can't say by far because Mike Conley was a +13 in this game. So a really close, tight to the vest kind of game. And this is going to be a very intriguing series, I think, moving forward, Gary. What do you are you wavering at all? There's still no Ayo Dosunmu. He's in a contract year, I believe. In fact, let me just go ahead and double check real fast. And see what the contract says. I think the Sunmu is in a contract year, and he's not making much this year. Yes, he's making $7 million for this season. There is no player option, team option, or contract otherwise on this guy this year. So he's 26 years old. He's in a contract year. He hasn't made much money. He's in this is his 5th year now in the NBA. Older when he came in, 22 years of age. Has been good the last several years. Double-digit scorer now. 14 points per game for this season all year. 15 points per game, 12 last year, 12 the year before. So this guy's looking to get paid. He has a lower body injury, soft tissue injury. So I don't think he's going to be too energetic or enthusiastic to get back. I don't think he's sleeping in any hyperbaric chambers like Anthony Edwards has been to get back in this series. He's not going to come back unless he's confident. He's not going to put his payday in any kind of jeopardy. So no Dosunmu still, probably moving forward. And obviously no DiVincenzo. And Anthony Edwards, as gritty as he was tonight and as hard as he played, and 25 minutes for 18 points, just 9 days removed from that hyperextension, he was lumbering throughout some stanzas of the second half. He was limping around a little bit, Gary. So seeing everything you've seen now in this game and everything that we know about their potential injury concerns moving forward, are you wavering at all in your Spurs? I picked Spurs in 6 before this game started. What I believe you might have had them in 6 as well, but we're open possibly if they got healthy to 7. But have you wavered at all in your thinking of and confidence in your Spurs to move on to the West Finals after tonight's game?
I don't think I picked the Spurs. I said
you did, Gary. Gary, stop, Gary. Stop this.
Well, first of all, I said 7. And I've been telling you that I said that if Anthony Edwards was not playing, that I would pick the Spurs in 7, but I said it would be very close.
Gary, you have to take into account, look, injury is a factor. Like you said all year, if Aaron Gordon is healthy, the Nuggets are title contenders. But like, obviously, I wasn't picking the Denver Nuggets to win the NBA championship this year because what was the feasible reality of him being healthy? He missed 50 games in the regular season. Obviously, he's never going to be healthy for a postseason run, which is why they got to trade him. So, like, you got to factor in injury. And we knew Edwards, even if he played, was going to be gimpy. DeSunmu might not play. DiVincenzo is out. So you had to factor, look, at total health, yes, I agree with you. The Timberwolves, going into this series, if the Timberwolves are a complete health, sure, like I would give them a chance, if not maybe pick them as the winner. But both you and I had to factor in the health issues and concerns. I mean, it's on tape, Gary. We can go. It's last night. I'm pretty sure you picked the Spurs in 7 and I picked them in 6. So it sounds though now that you are trying to go back on that already and say that you didn't even pick them.
Hold up. First of all, I don't think the people in the chat here that are all turning on me even watched me last night. I've been going into a lot of detail about this. I said that I am not sure. I said the Spurs are building a dynasty. I don't know which team is going to show up against these Timberwolves because they are not used to facing aggressive defenses. And I said, regardless if they win or lose, I said if they win, I think they're going to lose to OKC in the West Finals. But even if they lose, it doesn't deter me for the future because this is going to be a learning curve for them. And they still need their stretch 4, which they will draft in this upcoming draft because they've missed out on their stretch 4 the last 2 years. They've whiffed on getting their stretch 4. The dynasty is still intact. To me, this is a throwaway year. I'm not even thinking the Spurs. I'm not Kendrick Perkins. Oh, the San Antonio Spurs are going to win this year. I have been on the record saying, no, they're not. And you talk about me on tape, go to Gary 828 Sports Talk, and you'll see a video I made months ago saying the Spurs are not going to win this year. And I said on there, if they match up with the Nuggets or the Timberwolves, I think they would lose. Now that Edwards was supposed to be out, I said I would take the Spurs in 7. But if you go back and look, I also said, honestly, I really don't know. It could go either way because I'm not sure, because the Spurs are developing, I'm not sure which Spurs team is going to show up this year. And I hold that. I don't really know going forward who's going to win. But I know either way I win for several reasons. One, because my Spurs look great. And two, whoever does win this series, I'm really hoping is going to give OKC a series and maybe even have a chance at a championship. If the Timberwolves beat my Spurs, I'm on the Timberwolves bandwagon to win the whole thing. But if they lay an egg against OKC, I will be livid because if the Spurs face OKC, they may not win, but it'll be a very close series. I don't think anything different.
Okay, so got it. So you're on. You think I really was just wondering. Gary, I don't care what you think about next year, the year after that. Like, yeah, we get it. The Spurs have
right because you're not a Spurs fan. I'm a Spurs fan. I'm excited.
Okay, I get it, Gary. Yes, I get it. I don't care about next year, the year after that. I understand. We all understand. The Spurs are ahead of schedule. They're all of their stars are like 22 or under. Like, yes, the future is extraordinarily bright for the San Antonio Spurs. All I'm talking about is, and I know, credit to you, you have been saying all year you didn't think this team was ready. You didn't think that they were going to be able to win it all no matter what. You thought multiple teams could beat them in the playoffs. But all I'm wondering about is the vast perception of the public sentiment was Spurs, Thunder, collision course, And Spurs do match up favorably against the Thunder. They just do. Maybe they don't match up that favorably against the Timberwolves, and they certainly don't match up well against the Denver Nuggets. But in some capacity, sports and getting to your mark and winning your championships and stuff, it really is not just about who you play and who you beat, but who you can avoid. And the Spurs have avoided the Denver Nuggets. Like their one lone kryptonite didn't get to them, even though they ended up on the same bracket as them. So when they avoided the Nuggets, I think there was a sense of, okay, well, now it's set. Now we're definitely we're going to do the Thunder and the Spurs in the West Finals. The series everybody wants, really. The top two finishers in league MVP this year, more than likely, in Shea and Wemby. I thought, factoring in the health, I think Minnesota is highly disrespected, and really they've just been, it's really to their own detriment, I think, or not detriment. It's really based on their own underachievement. Let me say that. In the regular season, that's why they are routinely counted out. They carry themselves like there's some underdog, and they wear this chip on their shoulder. Nobody picks us. Yeah, because you're the 5th or 6th seed every year. That's why. Because you play like scrub losers in the regular season most of the time. 48, 49 wins. Fine, cool, good season. This talent, this team should be top 2 or 3 seed line every year. Like they should be winning 59, 61, 62 games every year, not 49. So yeah, you get picked against when you don't win 50 games, and there's teams like the Thunder and the Spurs at the top, and then the best player on the planet coming into these playoffs in Jokic. So yeah, you're going to get picked against. But that's just because they possum it all regular season. This is an elite star-laden team, very well, a very good team build philosophy. And I think, yes, if that we knew they were healthy, but that's not the realistic nature of how picking and prognostications work. That was my only point. If Anthony Edwards were 100% going into this series, if Ayo Dosunmu didn't have a lower body injury, if Dante DiVincenzo didn't rupture his Achilles, I probably would have picked Minnesota to win this series too with you. But those things were not true going into this series. And even though Anthony Edwards did play, he's not right. He 25 points. He's hobbling around in the second half. We both said last night that if Anthony Edwards tries playing at under 100%, he looks seriously physically depreciated, it's going to work as a detriment to his team, and that the San Antonio Spurs perimeter defense was going to eat him up. Well, he played, he wasn't quite 100%. The Timberwolves defense, in a game where Victor Wembanyama, the Defensive Player of the Year award winner, had 12 blocks, an all-time NBA record, in that game, the Minnesota Timberwolves defense was just better. They got the job done tonight against the San Antonio Spurs. I am a little surprised by the way tonight's game went, all things considered, but I am not wavering. I'll answer my own question. For me, I still do believe that the Spurs will win this series. I like the Spurs still to find a way. Now, if they lose game 2, though, Gary, how I feel about game 1s for home teams. Pivotal, very important games. Tone setters, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I still think the Spurs are so good, and I have such belief in Victor Wembanyama that I still think the Spurs are going to come back and win this series. But if they lose, now there is immense pressure on them in game 2. A very young, inexperienced team that was rolling and front running all first round. Now, if this is a close game at halftime, I'm telling you, butt cheeks tighten up. It gets tight. Okay. And for a young team that's never been there before, that has a lot of pressure now because everyone's thinking they're going to play the Thunder in the West Finals. And for them, if the closer the game remains in the second half, if they're down 0-1 already in the series, look, if it goes 0-2, it's over. The series is over. So we will see. I believe that game is, I want to say it is every other.
Ant may not have been 100%, but he wasn't hobbling around. I said that if he was hobbling around, Castle would eat him alive. And if he was playing for 4 games, hobbling, the Spurs would easily sweep the Timberwolves. But Edwards played like a superstar. That's one of the best playoff
25
performances.
minutes.
What's that?
In 25 minutes. Only 25 minutes played.
That is one of the grittiest playoff performances I have seen, reminiscent of Kobe Bryant.
I mean, here's the thing, Gary. I don't think he's quite right. And this series, it's every other day. Like it's 5-4. Today was May 4th. They play again May 6th. They play May 8th. They play May 10th. They play May 12th. Then they get 3 games off, then only 2 before game 7 if necessary. So it's every other, you get 1 day off, except for 2 days between 6 and 7. So like his knee was already hurt going into this playoff run. He then hyperextends it and comes back on 9 days rest tonight. I can't imagine that it's going to be better or improve on 1 day rest now for the next 5 games in a row. Like you've got to factor that in. So with knowing that, I feel like I still feel pretty confident about the Spurs because their defense is so good. Victor Wembanyama is so good, and he's got a lot of help. Like Wembanyama's got guys around him. I mean, like I said, you got to get more shots for Castle. 17 points on 8 shots, 4 of 8 shooting, 3 of 5 from the 3-point line. Vassell, 14 points, 3 of 6 from the 3-point line. Julian Champagne, 17 points on 7 of 12 shooting, 3 of 7 from the 3-point line. And then Harper, 18 points off the bench, 7 of 13. Keldon Johnson, 11 points, 5 of 10. Like these were performances in support that Nikola Jokic never gets. So Victor Wembanyama at 22, already with a better team, better supporting cast, like better contributors stepping up in playoff games for him than Nikola Jokic has ever had. He's 31 years old. So like, I still feel confident given a top 3 player on earth with great supporting cast in the starting lineup and off the bench that this team is still going to win this series. But Minnesota continues to prove that they are losers in the regular season. I want to give Minnesota credit for their postseason performances now the last 3 years. But the reason that I'm not expecting it and that other people don't expect it coming is because, again, they're just middle of the pack team in the regular season. And last year, I did look it up while we were talking. In the NBA Western Conference Finals last year, I'm trying to get to that. I want to see the exact breakdown of those games. I don't know why Google doesn't follow what I want all the time. I search the same things all the time, and sometimes it just doesn't provide my results. Okay, so yes, in the West Finals, like I said, off the top of my head, was a 4-game, 4-1 series, a gentleman's sweep. The Timberwolves got there. The Timberwolves actually last year, if you don't remember, the Timberwolves obliterated the Thunder. Basically, like the only time I've seen the Thunder look pathetic and lousy in the last 2 years was in Game 3 against Minnesota, where that final with Oklahoma City up 2-0, the Timberwolves beat them 143-101. A 42-point massacre by Minnesota over Oklahoma City in Game 3 to go 2-1. Then it was a tight game back and forth, 128-126. Oklahoma City won game 4 on the road to go up 3-1 in that close game. So Minnesota obliterates Oklahoma City in Game 3, then is highly competitive, fights them to the bone in Game 4, and then shows no character then after they lost that close game in Game 4 to go down 3-1. No character at all. Go back to Oklahoma City, lose by 30. And they lost by like 30 in Game 1, by 15 in Game 2. So they got one win, 4-1, in a postseason where the Nuggets and the Pacers took them 7. And the Timberwolves were the best team they saw in the playoffs, gets only 1. So again, low character team, but a very talented team. So let's see if the Spurs can put some adversity on them and make them show their low character. Because if they're just front running and they go up 2-0, they're not going to face that kind of adversity to show their low character or their small character until next round, and then likely they're just going to get dusted again. So again, get to the West Finals, tip of the hat, 2 years in a row, but 4-1 both times. Last year they weren't favored. The year before they certainly were, and they lost 4-1 to the Dallas Mavericks. We're hitting the 50-minute mark here. Guys, again, thanks for being here. As always, Skap Live After Dark. It is 1:10 on the East Coast here. I'm sure most of you are probably West Coasters if you're in the U.S. or from overseas. So welcome in. As always, I love to have that international flavor and appeal here in the Skap Live sessions that I do. So welcome into all of you guys from places elsewhere from the U.S. all around the world. Going to hit some of these super chats here. Gary, let's go ahead and start it with Michael Clutter Buck 1. Michael Clutter Buck 1. What's up, Michael? Welcome in. Thank you very much for your kind support here of us. Gary, what does Michael have, question or comment for us?
Mr. Skap, the frustration around having many friends who are LeBron straddlers is so tiresome. Always zero context and hypotheticals plaguing their arguments.
Yeah, I mean, that is the way it goes with LeBron, unfortunately. The guy, again, and you know what? I'll do it. Let me just talk, in fact, because I see a lot of sniffing and licking, boot licking and jock sniffing of LeBron as of late for getting that first series win. And I see a lot of burying of Nikola Jokic. So I just want to tie this in, both of these things in, because I saw Rich Paul, who is the preeminent bootlicker and jock sniffer of LeBron, talking about how Nikola Jokic doesn't get any criticism like LeBron James gets. So that was what Rich Paul was saying either today or yesterday on a podcast. And it's just utterly laughable because we had Nikola Jokic like top 3 center debates going on for like a year. And now after the series that he had against the Timberwolves, now he's like not top 25. He's not even top 10 all-time center. Like all of this insane slander of Nikola Jokic. Let's take a look at LeBron James in Cleveland for 11 years. So 7 in the first stint, 4 in the second. 11 years in Cleveland for LeBron James and 11 years in Denver for Nikola Jokic. LeBron with 2 league MVPs in 11 years with the Cavs. Jokic with 3 MVPs in 11 years for the Nuggets. Jokic played with multiple LeBron played with multiple All-Stars during his 11-year stint in Cleveland. Multiple. Ilgauskas, I'm trying to think. I can't think of his first name. Ilgauskas was, why can I not think of this guy's first name, Gary? Zildrunas Ilgauskas, maybe, I believe was his first name. Zildrunas, something like that. Ilgauskas.
Cavs?
Yeah, 2-time league MVP when LeBron was on the Cavs in his first stint. Mo Williams made an All-Star. Kyrie Irving made an All-Star then in the second stint. Kevin Love made 4 All-Stars. He played with multiple All-NBAers. Kyrie Irving was an All-NBA selection, and Verajao was an All-NBA defensive selection. Nikola Jokic played with 1 All-Star once, Jamal Murray. No All-NBAs, no All-NBA defenses. Jokic gets 1 championship in 11 years. LeBron gets 1 championship in 11 years. And LeBron, has this masterful career, and Jokic is a bum. So, of course, that's only because LeBron won 3 other rings with a top 5 player in Anthony Davis and a stacked Lakers supporting cast. And he won his other 2 rings with a top 3 all-time shooting guard in Dwayne Wade and a literal perennial all-star in Chris Bosh, who's in the Hall of Fame. Let's give Jokic those years in LA and in Miami like LeBron had, and he would have more than that 1 ring. So I feel you, Mike. I feel you, Michael. There is no context that LeBron realistically would have 0 championship rings if he left Cleveland the first time. If he just stayed in Cleveland his whole tenure, he would have 0 rings. So like people think that it's a power move that LeBron has. Oh, he's got 3 rings with 3 different franchises. Like no one's ever done that. That's GOAT stuff right there. No, that diminishes the winning. It diminishes it. It makes it lesser. The fact that you jump around and have ready-made teams that can go on and compete for championships every year, you're refreshing your championship. You're extending your window to win championships. And really, he's on a championship ready year every year from 26 on. So, and he's played in, this is his 23rd year. Next year will be year 24 for 4 rings. So yes, there should be some sort of context surrounding. There's no doubt his individual excellence and the statistical excellence that he's established throughout his career. But Nikola Jokic is better statistically than LeBron James. And yet he's never going to smell top 10 because he ain't going to get 4 rings. And why isn't he going to get 4 rings? Because he didn't jump every 4 years to a super team like LeBron James did. Again, the inconvenient truths of context and fact checking, Michael. Keep fighting the good fight and just show all of your sniffers and, as you put it, the straddlers, just show them some Skap Attack vids. That's the answer. Ruthless Raider is in next, and actually I jumped one, but Ruthless Raider is in for multiples. So we'll jump around 3 from Ruthless Raider. I'm going to do 3 coming up from Ruthless Raider in a row. Let's go ahead and start with this first one. Thank you, Ruthless Raider, by the way, for your generous support and continual tuning into us here and just being a part of these Skap Live After Dark live streams. I greatly appreciate you, Gary. What is the first of 3 from Ruthless Raider?
Well, Skap, in the wake of suffering from severe bronstipation, I'd like to pose a curious question. Will the Queen lead LA to at least 1 W versus OKC?
Yeah, that's a great question. I put the OU on that one for the Lakers at 0.5 going into the series. So like a half a win as the over-under. Again, I've got to take into account, this is the same thing that I was talking about with Gary earlier about how you have to take into account injuries. I think if I knew for sure what Luka Doncic's availability was and what the plan was for his return in the series, I would take the over on the hook. I would go 1. I would like 1 win for the Lakers. But not knowing, having uncertainty surrounding Luka, knowing that I've seen things like slow play his return or uncertain return time frame. So the fact that I know those things moving forward, I think I would have to take the under in the hook and go with 0. I think now that not knowing or being unsure, again, if Luka comes back for game 3, maybe they get game 3 or 4, probably 4. But if he does not come back at all until the latter stages of the series, maybe he might be targeting a game 5 or 6 return. Well, it ain't going to matter because it's not going to get to game 5 or 6. So I think I would take the under on that, Ruthless Raider, and go with the answer to that question, to your curious question, is no. LeBron will not lead the Lakers to at least 1 win against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Game 1 in that series tomorrow night, 15.5. In fact, let me just go ahead and double check. Let me just make sure. I don't want to be spreading misinformations on my live streams. The line is 15.5 still, yes. Tomorrow at 8:30, Lakers getting 15.5. Honestly, I wouldn't even touch that, to be honest with you. Like when I saw 14.5 for the Wolves last night, let me tell you what goes through my mind when I looked at that line and I saw that the San Antonio Spurs were minus 14.5. I don't care if Anthony Edwards played or not. And in fact, he only shifted the line 1 point. It went down to 13.5 with the news earlier this afternoon that he would indeed play. This is what goes through my mind simultaneously all at once. How do I drain my entire bank account? How do I usurp all of my wife's bank accounts? How do I take every single shred of net worth that I have on this earth? Let me go ahead and whatever that figure is, let me go also borrow $1 million from a shady ass mob loan shark. Like, let me get $1 million, sprinkle it on top of my net worth. Like, when I say shady mob loan shark, I mean like you're gonna, like, you get your leg broken in 3 days if you don't pay back the vig on it, and then you're just dead like 3 more days after that if you don't pay it back. I would have borrowed whatever they would let me borrow from that person, then bet the whole thing on the Minnesota Timberwolves tonight plus 14.5. That's what runs through my mind. Now, unfortunately, I live in Florida, so I do not have the ability to wager on sports at all. There's a few things you could do. The Hard Rock Seminole and Prize Picks allows like just game picks, win or loss, and they also allow the prop stuff as well. But there's no like whatever DraftKings, none of that stuff is available in Florida, unfortunately. Because what I was thinking for 14, an absolute positive joke is what I was thinking when I saw that line. But when I see 15.5 tomorrow for the Lakers, I'm like, nah, I'm not. I wouldn't even consider that game, because 15.5 to bet 15.5 on a team in the playoffs is just stupid to me. But I certainly see a reality where the Thunder win by 45 points tomorrow. So there's no way I'd be taking those with the Lakers. The Thunder are so good and so favored in this series. I don't want to get too stuck up on this, but there's philosophies in gambling, and I'm a lifelong wagerer of sports. And even when I'm not, I like to look at lines and think about things. Most 9 out of 10 people that bet are typically their favorite bettors. Like, when they look at a line, they're trying to justify in their mind, like, how could the favorite get to that amount, right? Like me, I'm a dog better. I like underdogs. I like the points. I want to take points. So when I look at games, I'm inherently wondering, how can I justify in my mind that team that's getting the points, winning the game outright or performing well enough given the line. And so even me being like a dog better and loving the dogs, I look at 15.5 in a playoff game in the second round, and I should be sprung at that. But no, the Thunder are that good and that overwhelmingly favored that I wouldn't sniff that line tomorrow. Wait, I said I was going to jump to the other Ruthless Raiders. Let's hit these other Ruthless Raiders, and then I'll go back. Thank you so much, Ruthless Raider. Gary, go ahead and give me this latest question or comment, the second of 3 from Ruthless Raider.
Though many new school delusional fans are badly burning with Bronneria, do you at least give LeBaby Oil credit for still being able to play today after all of those heated one-on-ones with Diddy?
I'm not going to touch that one, that Diddy comment. I'm not, this is a family stream here. It is 1:23 a.m. on the East Coast. So we are outside of those safe harbor zones, which I think is 10 p.m. Nonetheless, a family-friendly stream here. So I won't get into any of the alleged Puff Daddy connections or ties for LeBron. But yes, I will give LeBron credit. Like, look, steroids or no steroids, because if anything, I'm consistent, I have to say. Look, Barry Bonds to me is the best baseball player I've ever seen. I think he's on the Mount Rushmore to me. And I don't care that he did steroids. He did them later in his career. The federal government of the United States had an ongoing probe into Barry Bonds for like a year plus, like 20 million taxpayer dollars funded a federal government probe into Barry Bonds and steroid usage. And after the intensive investigation that the government laid out, they speculated, I think, that Bonds started using in his age 35 season. So let's just chop off every year he had after 35, and he's still Mount Rushmore. So look, and I'm still a fan and a supporter of Bonds, despite the fact that he absolutely did use towards the end of his career. Lance Armstrong, also career loser now to many, career bum that threw it all away by doping. Everybody else was doping that was in the cycling game back when Armstrong was doing it. The dude still won like whatever, 6 or 7 Tour de France's in a row after having like a 10% chance to live with like brain, testicular, and like lung cancer. Like he had like 3 or 4 different cancers. The guy had like a single digit percentage to live, and then did beat that, then went on and won like 7 straight tours when everybody else was doping too. All right, I'm sorry, stop it. Like that still is a phenomenal accomplishment. And what I'm getting to here is even if Leroy is absolutely juicing and has been for the better part of a decade, look, he's still 41 years old and dropping like 25, 8, and 7 lines or something, or whatever, 23, 8, and 7 lines. Like it is still massively impressive from an individual standpoint. And like in terms of statistical accomplishments and individual things, like LeBron is on the Mount Rushmore. Like I talk about it all the time, like Russell Westbrook, Will Chamberlain, LeBron James, Nikola Jokic, and Oscar Robertson are like the undisputed top 5 like freak stat accruers. But like you do have to factor in the other stuff. And there is the fact that LeBron craps his pants routinely in the playoffs with super teams, and he stole 4 easy garbagey rings that any other great player could have had with the supporting cast against the competition that he faced. So he doesn't get any credit for the 4 rings in 23 years because they're trash. So because of that, he's barely in my top 10. I think he's probably outside of my 10 now at this point. But in terms of his individual abilities and still at the age of 41, yes, I can give him credit for that, Ruthless Raider. And finally, another Ruthless Raider. Let's hear this third one from him, Gary. Go ahead.
Skap, are Burger King fries 2011 LeBum level bad?
That's a great question. Ruthless Raider, you bring the heat on these questions, and I like that. And your ongoing push of trying to add LeBron as a synonym to pooping. I like that too about you. Burger King fries they really are. Burger King fries, and by the way, quick backdrop here. First of all, I don't eat meat. I haven't eaten meat in like 6 or 7 years now at this point. But my favorite fast food place is Burger King, actually. And I loved the double Whopper with cheese when I was eating and I love crappy fast food cheeseburgers. So that's like one of the biggest. I don't like good meats. Like I don't like a nice steak or chicken or whatever, or lean, healthy meats. So I don't really miss meat and not eating it because I only like shitty meat, like shitty fast food cheeseburgers. And my favorite fast food joint growing up was Burger King, and I love the double Whopper with cheese, but their fries are undeniable hot trash. I think we can all admit or accept McDonald's fries are the best. I'll even give a shout out to Chick-fil-A's French fries, which are delicious. But the French fries for Burger King are so appalling that I don't even get French fries when I go to Burger King, because I still do, because they have the Impossible Whopper. So I can still treat myself. I'm a healthy guy and I don't really eat much fast food at all. But when I do, I can still treat myself to Burger King because they got the Impossible Whopper. But when I do go and get that, I don't even get the French fries. I get the onion rings, which in and of themselves aren't that good. They're those little, they're like this big and they're really small. But you get that special onion ring sauce, that zesty Burger King sauce with those onion rings. Delicious. So, but yes, the French fries, so bad at Burger King. You just can't even eat them. You can't even get them. So are they as bad as LeBron in 2011? I don't think I'm ready to go that far, because if push comes to shove, like if you just starve me. Now I'm an intermittent faster too, by the way. I'm just, opening the curtain and showing you guys the whole thing now, and giving you a little look, a dose at my daily regimen. I oftentimes will go like 16, 18 hours without eating. Sometimes I just forget to eat sometimes if I'm busy doing things, and it'll be like, oh, I haven't eaten in like 26 hours. So you got to go longer than 2 days to make me eat the Burger King fries. If I'm on like day 3 with no food, I would eat the Burger King fries. LeBron, though, is from 2011, worst player in NBA history. Like that. I don't think people, if there's a younger audience tonight, I don't know that you know or realize how bad he was in that 2011 series. He played the worst game ever. The worst game in organized professional basketball history in that 2011 series, when he had 8 points in 45 minutes in a pivotal swing decisive game that his team lost by 3 points as a 2-time back-to-back league MVP in his peak, with Dwayne Wade balling, a top 3 all-time historical 2, balling. So he's not as bad as the Burger King fries are ruthless. It's not 2011 LeBron bad. All right, let's get back up to SCC 30. What's up, SCC? Welcome into you. I'm looking forward to this question. It is a Akeem question. Gary, it's a quick one. I'll take it real quick. Top 5 best rings of all time. I got Dirk or Akeem at number 1. I've talked about this before on streams recently. Akeem and Dirk, those 2 rings are the best 2 rings in my opinion, the best 2 rings ever. I would say Akeem's other ring, 94, is in there too, as a top 3 ring. And then I'm just going to sprinkle both of Kobe's in with Pau Gasol, the 09 and 10 titles for Kobe. Those are my 5 best rings in NBA history. To me, I don't believe it's really all that remotely close. The Eastern Conference teams have shown some great finals wins in this century. The Pistons in 04 beating that Lakers team in 04 with Shaq and Kobe. Great series win, but they came out of the East, like the Eastern poopy conference. LeBron and everyone, probably the sniffers and lickers out there are going to be, oh, Skap, what about 2016 when LeBron beat 73 win? Okay. LeBron had Kyrie Irving, who outplayed Steph Curry. Like, Kyrie Irving outscored, out-assisted, out-rebound Steph Curry while turning it over less and shooting higher splits across the field, field goal, 3-point, free throw. Like, Kyrie Irving was the second best player on that team. And then the Warriors had the suspensions, the injuries, the injured Steph Curry. Even still in a vacuum, if you're saying LeBron and the Cavs beat a 73-win team, but they came from the East. I'm looking at the totality of the run, the overall 4 series that they went through to do it. And my 5 greatest rings would be both of Akeem's, Kobe's 2 with Gasol, and Dirk's in 2011 when he beat the super team Heat in the finals. But very good question, SEC 30. Okay, let's see here. Where I've been jumping around. I don't want to miss one now. We are in next with accidentally made this account. Again, Gary, this is a very quick one, so I will just take this one too. Wolves in 5. That is very confident. I'll tell you this. It might be Wolves in 4 if they get the next game. Again, I'm not ready to flip-flop on my Spurs pick. Spurs in 6. Though I likely would back that off to Spurs in 7 now, given the opportunity to change that element of my pick. I like the Spurs to win. In fact, I think the Spurs might win handily in game 2. I think the Timberwolves might just pat themselves on the back with this win. There might be a little rest, slippage, letdown for the Wolves, and the Spurs are going to be playing a very competitive team, a very elite defensive team. led by a ruthless killer in Victor Wembanyama. I expect the Spurs to have a comfortable win in game 2, then a split in Minnesota at least. And I like it then. It's a best of 3 at that point, and 2 of the 3 games in San Antonio. So I'm not wavering from my Spurs pick. But if the Wolves do win next game, then Wolves in 5 probably is a very distinct possibility or plausibility, really, at that point. Next in is Cloutmaster 3694. Welcome to the party, Cloutmaster. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. Gary, what is the question or comment from Cloutmaster 3695?
What would LeBron have to do, in your opinion, to avoid becoming scrutinized by persons such as yourself? Is there any world in which you consider him the greatest of all time? I'm a Kobe and Mike guy. My theory is that this is someone infiltrating your live stream from LeBron's camp. They're like, okay, go undercover, ask Skap what we can do, and then see if LeBron can start working towards it because he hates your videos.
Cloutmaster, first of all, welcome in. If Gary is right, then I guess you're obviously lying and you're not a Kobe and Mike guy. But I'm just going to take you at your word and on the merit of your word that Cloutmaster, you are a Kobe Mike guy, like me, obviously. And look, Kobe was the natural progression for us guys like me who grew up in the 90s. I was born in the 80s, but like too young to remember anything about the NBA in the 80s. I'm a child of the 90s. I grew up in the 90s, and I grew up under the legend of Michael Jordan. And I, of course, like 80% of all basketball fans in the 90s loved Michael Jordan. Basically, unless you were like in New York or whatever, Indiana, Utah, like unless you had a good team that was kept losing to Mike, you loved Mike. I grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I had no team. That I love basketball, and therefore I was a Jordan guy. And then, of course, obviously, this carbon copy of Michael Jordan that I identified when he was like a teenager in Kobe Bryant. I was like, well, clearly that dude's the next iteration of Mike. So like the natural progression, if you're a Mike guy, if you were a Mike guy or whatever, you then love Kobe. And I don't care what anybody says. It's total bullshit. I don't like to curse on my live streams or on my channel, but it's bullshit. I'm laying it down. I'm calling a liar. You're not a Mike fan, a Kobe fan, and a LeBron fan. I see these fraud liars all the time saying, oh, well, I love Mike. I love Kobe. I love LeBron too. I just love greatness. Celebrate greatness. Lies. You're not a Jordan guy and that becomes a Kobe guy, and then you also like LeBron. You're a flat out liar. If you're on there right now, out there right now, and you're listening to this, and you're saying, oh, no, Skap's way off on this. You just have to celebrate and appreciate greatness. No, because the mindset was so totally different. The tactics, so totally different. LeBron James is the antithesis of those two guys. He's everything that's wrong in today's NBA. Where Mike and Kobe did it the hard way and earned what they got, Jordan battled through years of failures in the playoffs, losing to behemoth, all-time great teams. Lost twice to the Bird Celtics with like 4 or 5 Hall of Famers, 3 top 50 players, while Jordan was playing with literal like scrubs. Literal. I use the word scrubs and bums a lot. Literal. Like Michael Jordan's best player, offensive player on his team when he was younger was like Charles Oakley. And like he was taking that roster against the Celtics early on, while he was the best individual player already probably in the NBA. Then he had to play the Detroit Pistons 3 times in a row with Joe Dumars and Isaiah Thomas, like just Dennis Rodman, like a beast defensive team with 2 easy all-time top 50 player Hall of Famers. And Jordan had young Scottie Pippen, who was going one of 10 in game sevens with a migraine. Like, just complete absurdity for Michael Jordan for like 7 years, struggling as the best player in the NBA, as people routinely criticize him. Yeah, Mike's the best stat guy, but he can't win shit. He went through that, and he stayed the course, and he just got better and stronger and more mentally focused, and then destroyed the league. Kobe Bryant wins 3 rings early with Shaq. His team his organization flushes his supporting cast down a toilet. Like, the support that Kobe had in his like 8th year or 9th year, 10th year, at the age of like 26, 27, 28, like his absolute peak prime years, where he was leading the league in scoring and first team All-NBA defense. Trash around him. Stays the course. Gets a dude who was a one-time All-Star in Pau Gasol, lights the league on fire, destroys the league again. Earns it. LeBron James, loser. 7 years in Cleveland, can't do it, leaves. Whatever. I am okay with guys leaving when their organization is not supporting them for years and years and years. 7 years is a bit quick, though, in my estimation. KG, I think he played 11 years in Minnesota before he ultimately had to go. I'm okay with that. I wish he wouldn't have gone to Boston and built a super team there, but whatever. I want Jokic to leave now, but he's been there 11 years with middling subpar supporting casts. 7 years, pretty quick for LeBron to leave. But then he goes and builds a super team and steals 2 rings. Then he goes, whenever they show slippage and they need to do a little rebuild in Miami, he cowards up and crawls out of town again and builds another super team. Then when they're showing slippage there, he cowards up again, goes and builds another elite team in the Lakers. I don't think it was a super team, but it had a top 5 player in AD. So what does he have to do? Gary, give me a thumbs up. Are you okay right now? Just give me a thumbs up. Okay. So what does he have to do to not be criticized by me? Well, he needs to win 1 ring, like 1 challenging ring where he doesn't have the decks stacked in his favor and isn't front running. And he hasn't done it in 23 years. So, like, yes, I'm a Kobe to Mike guy because of their mentality. And yes, they were winners. I'm a Giannis Antetokounmpo fan and a Nikola Jokic fan because of their mindsets, because of their mentality, and because they're winners. Yes, you can look at their resume and say, Skap, Giannis has 1 ring in 12 years. Jokic has 1 ring in 11 years. They're not winners. LeBron has more rings. Yes, but those guys stayed. Now, Giannis is leaving, but again, same as I said with KG and same as I said with Jokic now, I'm okay with Giannis leaving now. He's put in his work. He's done his time. He's given that franchise everything, and they've let him down time in and time again, just like with the Denver Nuggets and Jokic. It's time to go. Over a decade, you've done it. You've given them everything that you can give, and they've won. They're more of a winner than LeBron, and they've done it the right way, and they've gone through the challenges. They've overcome the obstacles. LeBron never has because he's a coward and he's a loser. Is he a very talented, all-time great physical specimen? Yes. Is it super impressive, the collection of statistical achievements that he's accrued throughout his career? Yes. But there's something else that you need to prove in order to be in the pantheon of all-time greats. And LeBron has shown over and over and over again, he doesn't have it. Low character, loser. Time and time again. He's never won once, ever, where he wasn't front running on a stacked team. So, Clout Master, to answer your question, what does LeBron have to do to not be criticized by me? Get a time machine. Go back in time and not be a coward. So I don't love his chances of being able to do that. Ruthless Raider, meanwhile, is back in yet again for yet another, a 4th now super chat. Another generous donation to the cause here in Skap Live After Dark. Thank you very much, Ruthless Raider. I appreciate you very much, Gary. What's this latest question or comment?
Well, we know Ruthless Raider is very regular. After pushing out an absolute LeBron juggernaut of a floater this morning, I wanted to pose this question. How impressive was Kyrie unquestionably leading the comeback versus Golden State in 2016.
Yeah, let me just say, like, I'm okay with LeBron getting Finals MVP that year. Like, I think he led the series. I think he nearly had a triple double in the series, and he led the series, I believe, in points, rebounds, and assists. I'm okay with him being the Finals MVP. But Kyrie Irving was a beast in games 5, 6, and 7. So they go down 3-1, and then Kyrie has like the game 5 elimination game in Golden State, which was really the linchpin to the comeback. Like you'd go down 3-1, and then it's on the road for a closeout in Golden State. You got it. Once you take that, then it's back to game 6 at home. So like that really, so game 5 and game 7 really were the keys because those were the road games. LeBron was massive in game 6 at home for Cleveland, but you're at home. You should get that game. It wasn't a hard game to win. Game 5 and game 7, Kyrie was the best player. He was the best player on the floor for Cleveland and for Golden State in a series that had that year's league MVP, unanimous league MVP in Steph Curry and LeBron James, that series MVP. And many would suggest the GOAT, or at least top 2. Kyrie Irving, though, was the best player in both games 5 and 7. And I want to look up that game 5 just to really hammer home, because his shooting splits in that game 5 were insane. On the road, staving off elimination against a 73-win team to come back 3-2. So in game 5, 112-97 in game 5, Cleveland wins to stave off elimination. And look, LeBron, good game. 41 points, not taking anything away. 16 of 30 for LeBron, 41 points. Kyrie Irving in that game also, though, 41 points on 17 of 24 shooting. 17 of 24. 41 points. In today's age of free throw grifting, 2 free throws for Kyrie. 5 of 7 from the three-point line. I don't even want to take a guess. I'm trying to see what his true shooting was in that series. His effective field goal percentage in that game was 82%. 82% effective or true shooting. 81% effective. 82% true shooting, 41 points. Just an impossible game for a 6'2" guard shooting predominantly all jump shots on the road against a 73-win team, staving off elimination. His O rating in that game, meaning his points produced per 100 possessions, 146. 146 per 100 possessions when he was on the floor in 39 minutes for that game. An amazing performance by him in game 5. Then in game 7, in the closeout game on the road again in the Oracle against a 73-win team, 93-89 final. LeBron James, 27 points, 9 of 24 shooting. Kyrie Irving, 26 points, 10 of 23 shooting. But as we know, Kyrie hit the shot with that game tied for like the last 4 minutes, seemingly. Like nobody could score. The last 4 minutes of that game, it was just deadlocked. And LeBron couldn't score. Curry couldn't score. Kyrie, with about a minute left in isolation, sizes up Steph Curry, drills the game-winning, series-clinching three-point shot. Kyrie was that dude. And in that playoff run, by the way, LeBron James averaged 26 points per game in the 2016 postseason. Kyrie Irving averaged 25 points per game in that postseason. Many people will say, oh, LeBron beat a 73-win team with no All-Stars. Laughable. Kyrie Irving missed like 20 games in the early part of that season, which is why he didn't have the games played needed to be an All-Star. When he was in the postseason that year, he played like all NBA Kyrie Irving. So, yes, Kyrie, phenomenal ruthless Raider in that 2016 series. We've got Nick Z Meislow, maybe. I don't know how to exactly say this handle, Nick. So I will go ahead, Gary.
Let me go ahead. Okay. When I get to the end of this, just go. This is a 5-parter, actually. So when I finish the end, just go to the next one and until we get to the very last one. So I'll start out the first one. It'll take multiple super chats for my question. I want your thoughts on this argument. The argument is A won it all because of not playing B.
Okay.
For example, Jokic didn't have to beat a 50-win team. Well, the other 50-win teams didn't make it as far as the Nuggets. Why would it be viewed as less for beating the 44-win Heat that made it to the finals than not beating the 57-win Celtics that did not? Shouldn't we be able to reasonably conclude that the Heat were better than their record indicated, especially when they made it to the finals? Not just with the Nuggets, but why would we view it as less impressive to beat the team that made it to the finals than the team that did not?
So some good points. Now, and first of all, let me just speak to this whole it just honestly, it just goes to show how stupid the internet is, by and large. How stupid people are on the internet, how uneducated, how ignorant, and how opposed and averse they are to doing any semblance of research or fact-checking. This ongoing, perpetual narrative that Nikola Jokic, quote, has never beaten a 50-win team. He just beat a 50-win team last season. The LA Clippers, point in fact, were 50-32 last year. Like, do something. Check something. Go ahead, Gary.
I think I'm not sure. Maybe I'm off, but I think you may have misinterpreted. I think he's saying that Jokic's ring over the Heat is just as impressive.
I'm not impugning Nick here, Gary. I'm not impugning. I'm just speaking to his question overall and his point overall. That, like, because he's speaking to the fact of this continual narrative that we're being beaten in the face with for the last few days. Jokic didn't even beat a 50-win team. He just did. Like last year, they just beat a 50-win team. Furthermore, Jokic played in multiple shortened seasons. He played in the 2019-20 shortened season, and the following year was a shortened season. Those teams that he beat teams in those playoffs that were 50-win paced if they played an 82-game season. And finally, the ring in question that Nick is talking about, while, look, the Heat were not a great opponent in the NBA Finals, but they were a game opponent. They were a team. Look, they went to the finals in the bubble too, and that was LeBron's 4th ring was against that Heat team, and they were a play-in team level team, I think, in that year as well. That they went to the finals. So, like, obviously, look, the Heat kind of are like they were a little Timberwolves-esque with Jimmy Butler. What I mean by that is a very low character regular season team that just doesn't give a shit about the regular season. And they just think, well, we'll just flip the switch when they get into the playoffs. And they clearly did that because they were an elite play. They did it the whole Jimmy Butler era. They beat the Bucks twice, I think, as a much lower seed. They get to the NBA Finals against the Lakers and then play the Lakers fairly tough. I think they got 2 games off the Lakers in the bubble. And then they get all the way in to the NBA Finals against Jokic. That team was better than their record would indicate, yes. But speaking of being better than the record would indicate, look, LeBron beat some 50 or 60 looking win teams in the East on his way to the NBA Finals with the Heat. Yet, like the Toronto Raptors who won 57 games with DeMar DeRozan as their best player. Like, give me a break. Honestly, give me a break. So there are teams like that Jokic played on that run that, yes, they didn't have 50 wins, but they were elite players. Like when I look at an easy BS run like the Celtics had last year, not only did they avoid the top 4 seed lines in their conference and didn't have to play 50-win teams and then get the 5 seed in the West, but they didn't play any good players either. Like all the guys got hurt. Like Brunson was hurt, Antetokounmpo was hurt, Embiid was hurt. Like they didn't play not only any winning teams or any 50-win teams, they didn't play any good players. The year Jokic won the chip, they beat the Timberwolves with Cat and Ant-Man in the first round. They then beat Devin Booker and Kevin Durant in the second round, who were favored in that series, by the way. They then beat a healthy Anthony Davis and LeBron James in the finals. Is that not hard? Like, because they didn't win any 50, it's some joke run. Isn't that hard? Ant-Man and Cat, 2 All-Stars. Booker and KD, 2 All-Stars. LeBron and AD, 2 All-Stars. And not just All-Stars, like KD's a top 50 all-time player. Like top 30 all-time, top 25 all-time player. LeBron's a top 25 all-time player. Top 10 probably, to many. AD's a top 50 player. Like Devin Booker's whatever, top 75 probably. And Jokic had Jamal Murray as his, and Jamal Murray played a hell of a playoffs run that year. His best outing by far. The best moment of Jamal Murray's career on a basketball court was that 2023 postseason. So I'm not trying to take anything away from Jamal Murray. Jokic doesn't even have that one. If Jamal Murray played like Jamal Murray in 23 or 24, 25, and 26, Jokic wouldn't have that ring. But he played like a bona fide all-star in that run. But Jokic also in that run became the first player ever to lead a postseason in points, rebounds, and assists. He had the most bulk points, bulk rebounds, bulk assists. He had the highest point rebound, he didn't have the highest point because I think someone that played one series had the most point average, but he had the most rebound and assist average in that playoff run. 30 points per game, 13 rebounds, 9.5 assists on 55% shooting for a 16-4 run. So for a 20-game run in that postseason, in the playoffs against those players, those teams, 30, 13, and 9.5 on 55%. And yet we look at that ring now, not me, but other idiots on the internet say, oh, what a lucky run. Oh, what an easy run. To your point, Nick, it is outrageous. I don't understand why, Nick, why we have to do this kind of revisionism on Nikola Jokic. But it's clearly because people feel a certain way about Nikola Jokic. Like there's a certain feeling about him, whatever you want to say, whatever inferences you want to draw, whether it's racial or whatever, I'm not going to speculate on, or whether it's just the fact that he's this seemingly fat-looking white European guy, and the other people around and involved in the NBA, the media, the fans, etc., the media, don't want this all-time great era of individual athletic dominance to be an era remembered for by Nikola Jokic. So I think that people want to discredit him at every chance that they get. And the only opportunity he's given them basically in 6 years has been this series, a series where, again, 26, 13, and 9.5 for him in this series. And we just saw Victor Wembanyama, who's everyone's ready to anoint as the next best player in the NBA in the world right now. Tonight in game 1, 11 points on 5 of 17 on this same defense. Next thing, we've got Isaac LYK, another regular. Welcome in, Isaac. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. Gary, what's the question or comment here from Isaac?
How did LaFraud get a Space Jam movie, but not Kobe?
Yeah, I don't think Kobe probably wouldn't have taken it. I don't think he wanted it. And in fact, Kobe did have a movie that was tailor-made for him. I've talked about it on the live stream before. One of my favorite sports movies, by the way, I can't even call it a movie. It's a joint because it's a Spike Lee joint, Above the Rim. Denzel Washington, love his work. Academy Award winner Denzel Washington. Stud actor.
He got game.
What's that? Yeah, what did I say? Oh, yeah, I said Above the Rim. He got game.
Because Above the Rim's your favorite basketball movie, so it's in your head.
I don't know, Gary. White Men Can't Jump, Above the Rim, and He Got Game are probably my 3 favorite basketball movies. Above the Rim it's tight. It is a toss-up. Above the rim and white man can't jump or is the toss-up. But he got game. Thank you for correcting me. He got game is in the mix. And it's Denzel, stud, multiple Academy Awards, I do believe. At least he should have. I think he has one for supporting and one. Training Day, I think he definitely got it for the best lead category. And did he get one for Glory, like supporting actor in Glory or something, maybe?
Go ahead and talk. I'll double check that.
Okay. Well, we all know he should have had it for Malcolm X. He got cheated. So I'm glad they made up for it and gave it to him in Training Day. Anyway, that Spike Lee joint was written by Spike Lee for Kobe Bryant. He was supposed to be the titular character, Jesus Shuttlesworth. He got game, but Kobe turned it down because he just wanted to focus on basketball and focus on being the best NBA player he possibly could be. Of course, Ray Allen famously stepped into Kobe's shoes in that movie, and I think had a tremendous performance as Jesus Shuttlesworth. Rick Fox with a terrific cameo in that movie. For those of you that know, but a great movie. Mila Jovovich in that movie, love her. So just a fantastic sports flick that Kobe was supposed to be the star of. I think it was his second year maybe in the NBA that movie came out, that joint, sorry. So I don't think Kobe would have wanted a Space Jam, to your question, Isaac. And LeBron James, I still have not seen Space Jam 2, whatever it's called, A New Era or whatever the hell. But my idol, Jim Rome, who was in Space Jam 1, absolutely shreds Space Jam 2. Like I looked it up on Rotten Tomatoes, and it has just a hilarious it's got a hilarious ranking on Rotten Tomatoes. Does Space Jam 2. It's like, I don't know if it's single dig on the critic aggregator, but it's in the teens. Let me just, actually it's all the way up to 25%. And the critics' consensus, despite LeBron James's best efforts to make a winning team out of the Toon Squad, Space Jam: A New Legacy trades the zany meta humor of its predecessor for a shameless, tired exercise in IP driven branding. So not good. Not a good review for that. So I've been meaning to watch this movie for years. It came out, I believe, in 2021. So 5 years ago. I've been meaning to watch it and do a review of it on my channel. Maybe I could live stream myself watching it. I've been told by people that Bugs Bunny carries LeBron in the game against the aliens. So yeah, it was pretty funny when they brought LeBron out for that game, because not only like LeBron couldn't even beat normal NBA players with a super team, and yet the fate of human existence was going to be put on LeBron James's shoulders in that movie. Pretty humorous, if you ask me. But that's a good question though, Isaac. Go ahead, Gary.
Yes, one for supporting, one for leading, 7 leading nominations, and 2 supporting nominations for a total of 9 Academy Award nominations for Denzel.
Yeah, Denzel is a class act and just a legend and an icon. One of my absolute favorite actors of this or any other generation for that or era for that matter. Really, he's just like a guy that like doesn't put out bad movies. Actually, it's weird. One of the first movies I ever saw with Denzel in was a movie. I never forget a movie that I see. Even if I don't see a movie, if I saw like a movie trailer and it was, years and years ago, I still remember the premise of the movie based on just the trailer. The first movie I saw, and Russell Crowe's another one of my all-time favorites because I loved the film LA Confidential growing up. It's one of my all-time favorite movies. LA Confidential, starring Russell Crowe, Kevin Spacey, and Guy Pearce. A noir throwback flick, terrific movie. But the first movie I saw Denzel Washington in was a movie called Virtuosity, starring him and Russell Crowe, where Denzel Washington's like a police officer that's like framed for a murder. I think he's in jail at the beginning, but then this computer algorithm, this computer generated serial killer algorithm that's like it's a combination of like several different serial killers personas and psyches, and then somehow the AI, if you will, serial killer escapes the AI world and comes to life, and that is Russell Crowe's character. And Denzel is then freed to hunt this virtual serial killer in Russell Crowe. Not their finest film, by the way. That movie, I would not recommend that movie, but that is the first movie I saw either of those two guys in, who are two of my favorite actors now, who have been in some of my favorite movies of all time, Denzel Washington. But anyway, Gary, thank you for fact checking that. 9 Academy Awards, not too shabby for Mr. Denzel Washington. Okay. Oh, look, here we go. We've got another Ruthless Raider who keeps coming in. Ruthless Raider, thank you very much. Again, I don't even know. I've lost count. Like, this is Ruthless Raider's like 5th super chat or something of the evening. Thank you very much, Ruthless Raider. I appreciate you being out here as always. Go for it, Gary, with this latest one.
Is LeBron's jaded construction company legendary for building so many super teams?
I didn't even. LeBron that can't be real, right? Like he just made that up. Yeah. Okay. Yes, I think LeBron basically, yes. I think the one thing I'll give LeBron, he's damn good at building super teams. Like, he's good at jumping around the NBA. He's good at limiting his contracts. He keeps them to small, manageable spans of time with player options as well at the end. So it's really like every 2 to 3 years, he's got the opportunity to hop around and move around and construct another super team. And look, while he chokes often with those super teams and has underwhelmed and underperformed and underdelivered with those super teams, he's damn good at building them. He really could. If he wasn't a straight choking dog in the postseason and when it really mattered in the playoffs, he really could have 7 or 8 rings. He set himself up to succeed. I'll give it to him. With his individual resume, all-time leading scorer, he's probably going to be whatever, 3rd in assists, 50,000 points maybe. It could be a goal. Like, if he had 7 or 8 rings, people would think he was the GOAT. And he gave himself a look at it. With his cowardice and super team constructing, he really should have 7 or 8. Like, if Kobe had those teams in that span of time, Kobe would have had 7 or 8, which is one of the reasons why LeBron will never go above Kobe for me. But like, that is pretty much LeBron. What he should at least most be known for is his great GM. Look, he's better than KD at building super teams. KD built out one killer of one in Golden State, but after that, Brooklyn with James Harden and Kyrie Irving, Phoenix with Devin Booker and why is this name is going to escape me, Gary? Help me out. He was on the Wizard, Bradley Beal and Devin Booker and KD in Phoenix. Then Houston I guess this probably isn't a super team, but total epic failure as well. So LeBron, look, he may not be as successful as he should be, but at least does build good super teams. I'll give it to him. GGGY7104. What is going on with this question, Gary? I see a point guard laden question. We talked a lot of point guard last night. I'll take this question because I've been reading it. Rank these 4 point guards all time: Nash, Kidd, AI, and Peyton. Of course, I mean, he just gives, first of all, I don't even think Allen Iverson was a point guard. I think he was more of a shooting guard. Yes, he was like 5'10". So his physical composition was that of a point guard. But I think of him more as like a shoot first kind of shooting guard. Though if I were to have him in these rankings my all-time rankings, I might actually have AI above all three. See, of course, he gave me 4 guys who are all very tightly packed. Like, I think all of these guys are like 8 or 9 through like 14, or like, right. So like he gives me like 3 or 4 guys that are all like right on top of each other in like the top 15, but like not quite the top 5. Steve Nash has the 2 league MVPs. AI's got 1 league MVP. Gary Payton's got none. To the best of my knowledge, Kidd has none either. Payton and Kidd, by far the best defensive players. Payton with 9 all-NBA first-team defensive selections. Kidd with a lot of defensive selections as well. So two-way players there. I think I would probably go, this is tough. This is tough. Payton went to 1 finals. Kidd went to 2 finals. Nash went to none. AI went to 1. Oh, actually, Payton did win 1. He went to more. He went to 2 because he was on that Heat team with Dwayne Wade and Shaquille O'Neal that won. So he did win 1, but at the very end of his career. I don't know. This is tough. This is a really tough ranking, GGY. You couldn't give me something easier with a little more space between these players. I would probably say, Allen Iverson might be at the top for me. 4 league scoring crowns for him, a league MVP. Then maybe I would go with Payton, Gary Payton next. I don't know. I honestly don't know. And then Nash has got 2 MVPs. I probably would go with Nash after that, and then Kidd. Look, these guys are like stacked right on top of each other. So this is a very difficult question. I like full court players. And Nash didn't do enough, I don't think, to be. So maybe Nash would be the worst of the 4 because AI, I think, was a more elite offensive player than Nash. And then Payton and Kidd were both elite 2-way players. So yeah, I don't know. It's tight. I'd say maybe AI with his offensive mastery and elite scoring would be first, and then Payton and Kidd are in the middle, sandwiched around Steve Nash with those 2 league MVPs, which I don't think he should have had either, quite frankly. I think Shaq should have won the 1 year and Kobe should have won the other year. So I don't think he should have either, yet he has 2. Michael is back in now. Michael Clutterbuck 1 is back in. Go ahead with this question or comment, Gary.
Mr. Skap, give us your deepest ball knowledge pull.
I don't really even know how to address this question. I mean, I talk about these random things all the time off the top of my head. Like, for instance, just talking about these 4 guys, like, was that not entertaining that I didn't have any time to prep or to look or to research any of those 4 guys? I didn't Google anything, and yet I just know Nash has 2 league MVPs, never went to a finals. Kidd has no league MVPs. Payton has no league MVPs, but 9 all-NBA first-team defensive selections, tied for the most all-time in NBA history with KG, MJ, and Kobe. Like, are you not entertained that I know that he went to 2 finals, 1 with the Seattle Supersonics in 95, 96, 1 with the Miami Heat, the Wade and Shaq Heat that won an NBA championship against the Mavericks. I believe it was in 07. And then AI, the 1 finals with the Sixers in 2001, but he did lead the league in scoring 4 times in his illustrious career, which 4 league scoring crowns, by the way, Michael, that is more or tied for the most of any player in NBA history outside of MJ with 10, Wilt with 7, and then you've got AI with 4, KD with 4, George Gervin with 4. Like, are these not deep ball knowledge pools? Michael, I don't know how else I can illustrate or demonstrate this. Like, just give me something. Ask me a question, really. I don't know what would my most obscure like stat or factoid or whatever be like. I don't know. Like, I just know a lot, quite frankly.
Hey, Skap, I'm gonna communicate with him let's go to the next question. Hey, I'll communicate with him. Michael, shoot me a question in the chat, a specific question, and then I'll direct it to Skap after we get to this next one. Ruthless Raider is back. And he says, after squeezing out a healthy LeBron shark yesterday, I felt the need to ask you this today. Was Kobe a better all-around player than the laughingstock is, was, or ever will be?
Thank you for the question, Ruthless Raider. Yeah, of course he was. LeBron is a great passer. I think he's an overrated rebounder. He's like 6'8", 260 or whatever, 240. He obviously he should average more rebounds per game than Kobe. But Kobe Bryant, to me, way better scorer than LeBron. I know he didn't score as many points per game as LeBron, but in his peak, Kobe Bryant, a way more versatile scorer, one of the 3 best scorers in NBA history. LeBron James, the bagless one, 37% outside of 3 feet from the basket. Kobe, a much better multi-layer scorer, probably one of the best tough shot makers in league history, the best in my estimation, and one of the best perimeter defenders ever. Again, I just said 9 All-NBA first-team defensive selections, 9. So 12 overall, by the way, 12 overall selections, which makes him the most decorated defensive player in league history in terms of selections to an All-NBA team, other than Tim Duncan. Second most in league history. Duncan has 15, Kobe has 12. So, yeah, Kobe's a way better scorer, way better defender, and I mean, he's an underrated playmaker and passer in my estimation. I think he leads all shooting guards in NBA history in assists. And again, he just did more with less against harder competition. So yes, Kobe is a better all-around player than LeBron. He's a better winner than LeBron. And for that reason, Kobe will forever and always be above LeBron on my personal all-time list. But thank you, Ruthless Raider. Great question, and I do appreciate it. Gary, we've got Isaac LYK back in again. What's this latest question or comment from Isaac?
As an AA, I think if Jokic was black, he'd be like what?
What do you, Gary, do you know what an AA means?
African American.
Okay. I was like, I'm not sure.
He'd be more liked. That's it. Yeah, because I think Karl Anthony Towns gets more praise than Jokic.
Yeah, again, I don't know, honestly, if it's a racial thing. I know that is the implications made by some. I honestly don't know. Maybe it's just my ongoing naivete that I really don't see sports through a racial lens. Maybe it's because I really don't look at things through a racial lens in general, but specifically not sports. Like, sports is the ultimate merit-based thing. Like, can you play or can't you play? Like, Larry Bird played in an era for sure where the expectation was white dudes couldn't play, but like everyone respected the hell out of Larry Bird because he could play. So like, I think the hatred for Nikola Jokic is beyond his color. I don't think that his race or whatever, or even the fact that he's foreign, really plays a factor in it. I think it's the fact that he's just, again, a quote unquote fat looking, dumpy, unathletic guy. Like, I think that's more why people dislike him than the fact that he's white or European. Maybe I'm just being naive, but that's just what I think. And for whatever reason, look, I also hated on this dude. When he won his first league MVP, first 2 MVPs, like, I was hating on this dude. I was like, this guy's an all-time overrated. Back-to-back league MVPs for this guy who can't get out of the first round. Well, yeah, the guy that couldn't get out of the first round, who was missing Jamal Murray every year when he was winning those MVPs, playing the eventual champion or team that went to the championship round those years. So like, yeah, when I started actually watching this guy, instead of just making fun of him and not watching him play at all, I realized how elite and all-time great he was. But I think a lot of people are doing what I did in the first couple years when he was winning MVPs, not really paying attention or not really watching. So like, if you actually watch this guy's games routinely all year long, I think you would have a more profound respect for him than you do. And that's just, I'm talking to anybody, really. Go ahead, Gary.
Okay, go back up to the previous. Well, you don't have to. I meant going back to the previous comment. Michael Clutterbuck. He wants to know what is an obscure player that you have some interesting information on, or just something just very random that just is something that the average NBA fan may not know.
Let me go. Let me see. Is that in the chat? Did he put that in the chat?
Yeah.
Let me see if I could find it.
I can read it to you. It says it was referring to the most obscure factoid or unknown player you have knowledge about. Just a fun question to pick your brain.
Again, I mean, it's just such a random question. Let me think here. An obscure factoid. Yeah, I'll say this because I've become obsessed with like efficiency ratings and so forth. Mainly because I'm a big Kobe guy, and for years, look, Kobe was never a very elite, advanced rated player. That is true. Like, even though some of that is because he played in an era that was so inefficient from 90, whatever, like 95, he was drafted in 96. And from like 95 to 2010, like league-wide scoring averages for that 15-year span, 96 per game. And the efficiency was just so low. The true shooting, the effective field goal league averages very, very low. So some of the reason why Kobe is not that efficient looking in all of history, when you stack him against all these players from other eras, like, you can understand why that is. But he actually, even within his own era, wasn't tremendously efficient when you look at things like PER, VORP, value over replacement, box plus minus, player efficiency rating. So to understand why he wasn't, like, I've really dug into these efficiency ratings and so forth. And I've studied them for the last several years. And that's one of the reasons why Nikola Jokic, to me, like, when Kobe was playing, no one cared, or everybody cared about the PER, the VORP, the BPM. Like, everybody cared about that stuff when Kobe was playing as a way to diminish Kobe and justify not giving him MVPs. Now that Nikola Jokic is like the best advanced player that's ever existed, everyone's doing things to justify why he isn't and try to diminish those advanced ratings. But I've kept an eye on those things throughout time. And one player efficiency rating, to me, is one of the more random but impactful metrics. It essentially gauges, or aims to gauge, like, the overall value of players. I'm just talking about like the randomness of stats or whatever. I looked a while back when Jokic became the all-time PER king, because LeBron James was a very elite advanced player, but he could never surpass Michael Jordan in BPM, box plus minus, or player efficiency rating. Basically, from the time Michael Jordan stepped on a basketball court, he was the PER king for all of time, for like 50 years or 45 years, until Nikola Jokic. Now, Jokic is like a full point above Jordan. But I went and looked at, like, who are the other players all time to be ranked in the top 20 in PER, let's say, other than Jokic, who's number one all time. And all of the top 20 other than Jokic are basically, if you aggregate out there, and I think I might have spoken to this before on a chat at one point, but if you look at all the other players all time in history in the top 20, they're like all first or second round picks by and large. Like, the lowest guy might be like 8th or 9th, other than Jokic, who was 41st. So I just speaking about it, but I now do want to pull up the list just to bear it out, because I am kind of a nerd and I do like random things and stats. First of all, I haven't looked at this all-time list in a while. Joel Embiid now is actually second. Joel Embiid has passed. So see, now when I learn a stat like that, and this is why I have random facts and stuff about movies, sports, because when I learn a factoid or a stat, I just retain it and I don't lose it. Like one that I heard a couple days or a week, 2 or 3 weeks ago that was very intriguing to me. The last 12 NBA champions have played 5 games or less in the first round. Like that's very interesting to me. Like that's something that I'll now remember and I'll never forget. So now Joel Embiid has now surpassed Michael Jordan as well in all-time PER. So Embiid is 27.98. Jordan is 27.91. Nikola Jokic is 28.9. Nearly a full point higher than both Jordan and Embiid. But anyway, Embiid, whatever, top 4 pick. I think he was 4th. Jordan, 3rd. LeBron James, number 1 overall. Anthony Davis, 1 overall. Shaquille O'Neal, 1 overall. David Robinson, Gary, help me out. Was he 1 overall?
Number 1 pick?
Yeah.
I think David Robinson was.
Every guy I've named, like think about it, like Embiid 4, Jordan 3, LeBron 1, Davis 1, Shaq 1, David Robinson 1, Will Chamberlain. Okay, so Giannis Antetokounmpo is 9th. He was like the 15th player or something, 13th, 15th player, something like that in the first round. Luka, 3rd, I believe. Then you get into some old-time players, Bob Pettit, Neil Johnston, Charles Barkley, who was like 5th, I believe. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, 1st overall. Kevin Durant, 2nd overall. Okay, Shea, he was a mid-tier first-round pick. Then Tim Duncan, 1st overall. Magic Johnson, 1st overall. Karl Malone, top 5 pick. Maybe 6th. And that's it. That's the list. So like every guy in that list is like an elite top-end lottery pick. Basically, other than Giannis, who's like mid-tier first round, and Shea, who was, I want to say like a mid-tier first round. But let me look up exactly Shea when he was drafted. I remember he was drafted by the Clippers and then traded. He was the 11th pick, so not quite mid-tier, but at end of the lottery. But still, all of those guys are crazy, like high blue chip kind of caliber players. But Nikola Jokic, who was 1 full point better than every other single human being ever that has played organized basketball at a professional level, was the 41st pick in his own draft. Just crazy. It just really is crazy. Okay, did we do this one or no, Gary?
Yeah, we did that one. We're down to the bottom 2. A green one with Ruthless Raider. I think it's the next one. Okay, here we go. Ruthless Raider's back. If you ever end up watching it, referring to Space Jam 2, please come on here and rate La Hairline's performance in Waste Jam 2.
I never finished my thought on it. Jim Rome, who's he's a huge person in my life. I have listened or loved Jim Rome since I was like 7 years old. So I'm a big Rome fan. I don't listen to him as much now as I used to. But he still talks about Space Jam 2. And it's just so hilarious when he talks about it. He has this like vomit montage where it's just people barfing on like this audio drop of just people barfing as he's talking about Space Jam 2 and about how LeBron ruined his franchise. Because, of course, he and Mike to Rome had a very small appearance in Space Jam 1. But he claims that that's him and Mike were co-stars and the co-leads in Space Jam 1. And that he took his wife and his 2 kids to see Space Jam 2 in theaters. And his kids were vomiting on the floor while they were watching Space Jam 2. And that LeBron ruined his franchise. So that I've been meaning to watch it. I want to watch Space Jam 2 in the worst way, but I just haven't found a time to fit it into my very busy schedule over the last 5 years. But I have been meaning to watch. And I'll say this, look, as much crap as I talk on LeBron, no pun intended, Ruthless Raider, as you, I know, are trying to make LeBron's name synonymous with a piece of crap. I'll give LeBron this. Again, I watch a lot of movies. Trying to think of the name of the movie. I can explain. I can describe it to you. John, is it John Heater or John Hader or whatever, is like he's like a sports psychologist in the movie. John Cena is in it.
Trainwreck.
Okay. And LeBron James is in it. And first of all, John Cena is ridiculous. Like, that was one of the first movies I saw John Cena in. I was dying from his scenes. Like, he absolutely stole the movie. Hilarious performance. I now watch basically any movie with John Cena. I will watch now, following me seeing his performance in Trainwreck. I saw a movie where him and Idris Elba are like seen as the president. Idris Elba's that, I think it might be called Heads of State or something like that. Idris Elba is the prime minister, and it's like some action farcical movie. Liked it. These aren't like Oscar winner movies, right? These aren't like critically acclaimed films, but I find John Cena's movies to be very funny and entertaining. Another movie I watched, I think it was like an Amazon Prime original, something Stanicki. Ricky Stanicki was the name of the movie, starring Cena and Zac Efron. Hilarious film. Anyway, I digress. Trainwreck. While Cena stole the movie to me, LeBron was quite good in that movie. I got to give it to him. Like this, I found him very likable in that movie, and I enjoyed all the scenes he was in. He was a very funny element in that movie. So while I haven't seen Space Jam 2, I have seen LeBron's performance in Trainwreck. Very good. So I will not throw shade on LeBron's acting prowess or chops based on his performance in Trainwreck. Next thing, we've got Cloutmaster 3695 in again. Thank you very much for your continued support and a very generous donation for us here tonight. I appreciate it. Gary, let me get the question or comment from Cloutmaster this time.
Do you think there was a secret agenda against Kobe? Many of his potential record-breaking streaks ended early due to coach decisions, or even potential lost rings due to vetoed trades like Melo or CP3, even 1 or 2 MVPs.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. There was some kind of an agenda against Kobe, and it wasn't even that secretive. The media hated this guy's guts. They stole 2 MVPs of him. Who asked me about my obscure ball knowledge or an obscure drop? Here's some obscure knowledge as well. Kobe Bryant has the 3rd most top 5 MVP finishes in NBA history. 3rd most. There's been 5 guys in NBA history total that have double-digit top 5 finishes. So 5 guys who have at least 10 top 5 finishes in their career. The most ever, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar with 15. LeBron has the next most, I believe, with 13. Then it's Kobe with 11, tied, I believe, with Bill Russell at 11. And then Wilt and Jordan each had 10. That's it. That's the list of dudes with at least 10 top 5 finishes. Now, riddle me this. How the hell does a guy in Kobe Bryant, who led the NBA in scoring, both points scored and points per game, for a decade, while he made 9 All-NBA defensive selections, while going to 7 finals and winning 5 of them, finish top 5 in MVP 11 times, get only 1 win, while the other 4 names that I just rattled off, being Kareem, Jordan, Wilt, and Kareem, Wilt, Jordan, and Russell. How do all of them have a minimum of 4? Kareem with 6, Jordan with 5, Russell with 5, and Wilt with 4. How does that happen when Kobe was the best offensive player and an elite 2-way player that was having team success? How is it that those guys all have at minimum 4? He has 1 because there was a targeted agenda against Kobe to screw him out of MVPs. Because if he had 3 MVPs, he would be Mount Rushmore easy, which is why he is easy Mount Rushmore for me. He's 2 on my all-time list because I can look through the agenda and the hatred and the rigging of the MVP shit and the fact that, yes, an era that we have seen where it was just like the Pied Piper of LeBron dancing around the NBA with his little flute while other top 5 players come and join him on various super teams. Kobe gets his Chris Paul trade vetoed, which would have given him a 6th ring against LeBron. So, like, I can see all of this, and that's why Kobe's number 2 on my all-time list. But Clout Master, without question, there is and was a targeted agenda against Kobe Bean Bryant. Next in, we've got, am I missing one somehow? I don't know. Did I miss one, Gary? I don't think so.
No, you're good. This is the last one.
Okay. Next in, we've got, boy, what is that? The Lord Raj, 5412. The Lord Raj, what's up? Welcome in.
LeBron is a better actor than Tom Lewis.
This is just a straight troll job by the Lord Raj because as everyone knows that is familiar with me and this live stream, I'm a big Tom Cruise fan. The greatest movie star in cinematic history, in industry history. Not the best actor, but the greatest movie star. And a damn good and underrated actor. 3 Academy Awards to his own name, maybe 4. Born on the 4th of July, Jerry Maguire, and Magnolia for sure. That could be his only 3. Should have been nominated for The Last Samurai. I stand by that. Russell Crowe was nominated that year for Master and Commander Far Side of the Sea or some shit. And Tom Cruise should have been nominated for that in place of Russell for Last Samurai. But I also think Cruise should have won for Born on the 4th of July. Maybe not, though, because Daniel Day-Lewis delivered one of the greatest performances ever that year, My Left Foot. So whatever, Cruise should have got a makeup Oscar somewhere along the line, like Denzel got his for Training Day because he got screwed for Malcolm X. And that day should have been Jerry Maguire, should have been Tom's makeup. But anyway, I digress. No Oscar for Tom. He should have one. I'm going to tell you this. He will be nominated this year, and he might win this year. This is going to be a crazy year for nominees. I think Matt Damon is going to be nominated for The Odyssey. I think Ryan Gosling is going to be nominated for Project Hail Mary. Terrific film, by the way. If you didn't see it, you should. Try to see it in theaters. Project Hail Mary. An amazing just movie achievement. There was very little CGI in that film. The only VFX stuff was like removal of cords and stuff. There's very little. There was no green screenage in that movie. It was basically, they built the entire spaceship. An amazing movie. And Gosling acted like 80% of the film with a puppet. And an amazing performance by him. So I think Gosling and Damon will be nominated. If DiCaprio's in a movie at all, he will likely be up too. And then Tom Cruise, years after his last, I think Magnolia was his last nomination. So that movie, Magnolia is like from the 90s. So like 30 years, maybe almost, since his last, let me see, actually, Tom Cruise Academy Award nominations. I just want to, 2000 was his last one. Of course, that I guess was the Jerry Maguire year. So anyway, 26 years, 30, almost 30 years between nominations, and Cruise very well might win this year. There's very little known about the movie. It's called The Digger. All I've seen is a brief, like 40-second teaser with no lines at all. but this guy, this Inarritu director, who I believe was the director of Everything Everywhere All at Once and won the Academy Award. Alejandro Inarritu. I'm probably slaughtering his name. But I believe oh my God, he has a litany. Oh my God. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 Academy Award nominations. 1, 2, 3, 4 for Best Director. And then he has a couple Best Film nominees as well under his belt. So this guy is a decorated director. And he was the director of this movie. And he said that Tom Cruise is a force of nature. He said it's the best performance he's ever seen in his career, is the word on the street coming out of this Digger movie. He said Inarritu told a story that there was a scene, like a 20-second or 30-second scene on camera where Cruise has to dance around in the rain or whatever. And he was outside in the rain for 15 hours practicing and rehearsing for a 20-second scene. So this could be the year that Thomas Cruise Maypother IV takes home what he should already have in his case, in his hardware case, which is the Academy Award. So Lord Dre, get off my live stream with this troll job there. LeBron, a better actor than Tom Cruise. Slander. Next in, we've got John's World 2 IH1K. John, thank you very much. A very generous donation for us here in the Skap Live sponsor area tonight. I really appreciate you. Not even a question or comment, just wants to give us a nice little donation here. Thank you very much, John. And thank you for being here, obviously. Ruthless Raider in again for like the 16th time tonight. Ruthless Raider, thank you very much. What can I answer for you this time? Gary, what's the question or comment this time?
No question, just a quick comment. As a resident log dropper here, great job, guys.
Thank you, Ruthless Raider. I appreciate you for your ongoing support of me here, as well as your ongoing efforts to push the agenda of getting LeBron's name synonymous with a poopy. Just keep up the good work on both fronts, I would say. Okay, finally, we've got Cloutmaster 3695 in again with yet another question for you guys. Again, I can't thank you guys all enough for your continued generosity and support here of us. Another night, I think we had about we were around 400 or 500 people in at one point, still around 300 right now. So another successful show in my estimation. Obviously a successful show when you guys turn out and you are interacting and engaging. I really appreciate it. But Gary, give me this final super chat, if you will, from Cloutmaster 3695.
Do you think Shea is an all-time great already? Obviously think Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan is better, but what Shea has done on an individual standpoint is on par to prime MJ.
Yeah, I disagree with that part. I'm not saying prime MJ. Like, there is still a wide void between Jordan, Kobe, and Shea. Like, it's Jordan, Kobe right up there, and then there's a big gap to me. And then whatever, make your arguments. Is Jerry West a 2 or a 1? If he's a 1, then I'd say Dwayne Wade is next. So that's basically that's really what we're talking. Like, is Shea over Wade, basically? I'm going to assume he gets this year's championship. I think that they get it. I think that they get it fairly easily, especially if the Spurs go out this round, but I'm still not ready to say that. I think the Spurs will test them, but I still think the Thunder wins that series. So back-to-back 60-win seasons, back-to-back finals MVPs, back-to-back league MVPs, 3 30-point per game scoring seasons. Yeah, he's better than Dwayne Wade at that point to me. If he gets this one, yeah. I'd say Shea is the third best shooting guard ever, probably, if he gets this one this year. And he's only, 28. So, yeah, he's already an all-time great. And this is coming from me, who is allegedly a Shea hater. But 2 league MVPs, 2 finals MVPs, 2 30-point per game or 3 30-point per game scoring average seasons, 2 60-win campaigns with championships at the end of them. Good two-way player, elite two-way player, maybe even. Hard to tell because that defense overall was so good around him. But yeah, he is. He is already an all-time great. Those advanced numbers that I talk about all the time, he's got 2 in the top like 14 or 15 all-time seasons in PER and BPM. So yeah, he is an all-time great already. But here's the thing. I don't know how much further he can get, at least on the shooting guard list. It's kind of like with Brady in the NFL with Mahomes. Like Mahomes damn well could already be the second best player ever, like behind Brady. Like you can make your case for Montana. Montana has one more ring than Mahomes does right now. Mahomes been to more Super Bowls. Mahomes 3-2 in 5 Super Bowl appearances. Montana obviously 4-0 and 4. Mahomes already, I think, tied or surpassed. He's either got 16 or 17 playoff wins, which is either tied for Montana with second most or one more than Montana. You could obviously still make a case for Peyton Manning if you want 5 league MVPs, most ever in NFL history, more than anybody else. Aaron Rodgers has 4. No one else has more than 3. So Peyton Manning's right there still. He went to 4 Super Bowls, won 2. Mahomes only 2 league MVPs to Manning's 5. Manning had some obscene number of first-team All-Pros as well. So you can make a little case for a few players maybe. But I certainly can make the case and accept the case that Patrick Mahomes is already number 2, and he's just 30. So you might be sitting back and thinking, well, SGA is only 28, and you're saying he's the third best shooting guard ever. Well, that means he's probably going to run down Kobe, at least Kobe, maybe MJ too. Just like, well, Mahomes is 30 and he's second, he's going to run down Brady. Like, while this guy is second, Mahomes already, the difference between 2 and 1 is the Grand Canyon. So, like, he's never going to catch Brady. And I think that the difference between Shea and Kobe and Mike is so vast that he ain't ever going to catch those 2. So he might be the third best 2 already ever. And hell, he might even get into top 10 talks possibly when it's all said and done. But he ain't going to be at least not close to my top 2 all time, which is Mike and Kobe. Like, to do that, like, look, the ask isn't that hard for him. He's got this insane team. Like, this insane. Put prime Kobe on this Thunder team against these Thunder. They'd win 70 games every year and go 16-0 in the playoffs. There wouldn't have been any 16-8 last year or whatever it was. Shea lost 8 playoff games last year with his team against that road that he had to play. No. It would have been like 16-0 last year. So it's still a huge gap. So no, Shea's got to win like 8 if he wants to get close to Kobe and Mike. So we'll see where he goes from there, Clout Master. But yes, he is, to answer your question, already an all-time great. But how much farther up the ladder he can get potentially, I simply don't know, because there are nothing but like legends up there. And all-time legends, like all-time, like one table type guys. Like the table is set for a table of 3. And those 2 guys are at it, like all time. So I don't know how much further up Shea's going to be able to matriculate on that list. But great questions, guys, tonight. Great conversations, I think. One great game in the Spurs and Timberwolves. One ass beating in the Knicks and the Sixers. I expect both teams that were on the losing column tonight to get back in it throughout the series. That might not happen for the Sixers until they get back to Philly in game 3. For the Spurs, though, I like them not tomorrow, the next day, the 7th. I like them, or the 6th, May 6th, which would be Wednesday. I like them to get an easy win and get back in this series. But we shall see. The Minnesota Timberwolves continue to play up. and they're really showing out and showing up and showing out for a third straight year in the postseason. Now, tomorrow night, guys, 2 games on the tap. We got Cleveland and Detroit in the early game, and the late game, which is an early-ish game, an 8:30 tip-off for the Lakers and the Thunder. So 8:30, that means that game should be over by like 11. So my schedule is very messed up now. I'm very tired all the time. I feel like I need a day off, but with such an early tip-off on the second game, I feel like I can't avoid coming on. I have no excuses. So probably Gary and I will plan to be on tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. Guys, until then, though, again, it's been a great night. Thank you guys all for your continued support, generosity, and showing up here for me and for Gary. And, make sure that you are subscribed to Gary. Tune in to Gary828, his regular channel, his sports channel. And, of course, as always, please do make sure you are subscribed to me as well with notifications turned on. Because, again, I come on random ass times. I do random timed videos. So the best thing to do to not miss a live or miss a video is turn on those notifications as well. And make sure you stay up to date with all things NBA and NBA playoffs with me. Guys, until then, have a great night and